Chapter 5. Kamala. Siddhartha learned something new on every step of his path, for the world was transformed and he was enthralled. He saw the sun rise over forest and mountains and set over the distant palm shore. At night he saw the stars in the heavens and the sickle-shaped moon floating like a boat in the blue. He saw trees, animals, clouds and rainbows, all of which had always been there, but in previous times they were nothing to him but a fleeting and elusive veil. He had regarded the world with distrust, believing that reality lay only on the other side of the visible. But now his eyes lingered on this side. He sought his place in this world without any distrust, finding it beautiful and pleasant to go through life so childlike and awakened. He observed a group of monkeys in the forest and saw a ram mate with a sheep, noticing the strength and desire reflected in every living creature. He realized that while he had known for a long time that his self was Atman, he had never truly found it because he had tried to trap it in the net of thoughts. Now, he decided to listen to both his thoughts and his senses, striving only after whatever his inward voice commanded. During the night, while sleeping in a ferryman's hut, Siddhartha had a symbolic dream where his friend Govinda transformed into a woman, and he drank sweet, intoxicating milk from her breast. When he awoke, he asked the ferryman to take him across the river. The ferryman, who loved the river and learned from it daily, refused any payment, sensing that Siddhartha would return one day to repay him. Siddhartha smiled, feeling that everyone he met was like Govinda, subservient and friendly. As he continued his journey, he passed through a village where a young woman washing clothes attempted to entice him. Though he felt his blood kindle and remembered his dream, his inward voice said, "No," and he gently stroked her cheek before disappearing into the bamboo wood. By evening, he reached a large town, eager to be among people again after his long isolation in the forest. At the entrance to a beautiful grove, Siddhartha saw a magnificent procession. In an ornamented sedan chair sat a woman of extraordinary beauty, with bright red lips and clever, observant eyes. This was Kamala, the well-known courtesan. Siddhartha felt a lucky star shining over him and decided he must meet her. However, realizing he still looked like a ragged samana, he spent the next day preparing himself. He made friends with a barber's assistant who shaved his beard and oiled his hair, and then he bathed in the river. When he finally presented himself to Kamala, he told her that she was the first woman he had ever spoken to without lowering his eyes. He asked her to be his friend and teacher in the art of love. Kamala laughed, noting that most men came to her with fine clothes, silk shoes, and plenty of money, not as naked beggars from the forest. Siddhartha remained confident, asserting that he could achieve these worldly things easily because he knew how to think, wait, and fast. He composed a beautiful poem for Kamala on the spot, and in return, she gave him a kiss that filled him with an overwhelming sense of new knowledge. Kamala advised him that if he wanted her friendship, he must become a man of means. She arranged for him to meet Kamaswami, the richest merchant in the town, instructing Siddhartha to be his equal rather than his servant. Siddhartha thanked her, realizing that the simple life of the town was easy to master. When Kamala later asked how he succeeded so quickly, he explained his secret. Like a stone thrown into water finds the quickest way to the bottom, Siddhartha is drawn to his goal by his will. He does nothing but think, wait, and fast, allowing his goal to pull him through the affairs of the world. Kamala was captivated by his voice and his eyes, and as they parted, Siddhartha promised that soon he would return as a wealthy man, no longer a beggar, to learn everything she had to teach. Chapter 6. Amongst the people. Siddhartha entered the service of the merchant Kamaswami, living in a rich house and wearing the fine clothes of a man of means. From their first meeting, Siddhartha established himself not as a needy servant, but as an equal. When Kamaswami questioned how he would survive without possessions, Siddhartha famously replied that he could think, wait, and fast. He explained that his ability to fast freed him from the desperation of hunger, allowing him to remain patient and calm where others would be forced to act out of necessity. Impressed by Siddhartha's literacy and his elegant handwriting, Kamaswami took him into his business. Siddhartha learned the rules of trade, rice, wool, and shipping, but he viewed the entire enterprise as a mere game. While Kamaswami conducted business with passion and anxiety, Siddhartha remained detached, never fearing loss and never becoming stirred by profit. Despite his involvement in trade, Siddhartha's heart remained centered on his visits to the beautiful Kamala. From her, he learned that love was an art of mutual pleasure, requiring patience, gestures, and a deep understanding of one's partner. Kamala taught him that lovers should never separate with a feeling of desolation or misuse, but always with mutual admiration. In the business world, Siddhartha's equanimity and talent for listening made him a success. Even when he failed to close a deal, such as during a trip to buy a rice harvest that had already been sold, he remained satisfied. Instead of returning in anger like a typical merchant, he spent days befriending the villagers, playing with their children, and attending a wedding. He told an annoyed Kamaswami that he had gained pleasure and friendship, which was more valuable than a hasty transaction. As years passed, Siddhartha lived among the child people, observing their intense struggles for money, trivial honors, and small pleasures. He found their lives both endearing and contemptible. They suffered over deprivations that a samana would not feel, and grew gray over things he considered worthless. Although he was successful and popular, Siddhartha felt a profound separation from those around him. A small, gentle voice within him constantly reminded him that he was leading a strange, superficial life, that real life was flowing past him while he merely played with his business and his wealth. He realized that while he enjoyed the game, his real self remained far away, wandering invisibly and untouched by his daily affairs. Siddhartha found his only true intellectual equal in Kamala. He once told her that most people are like falling leaves that drift and flutter in the wind, but a few are like stars that follow a fixed path, guided by an inner light. He noted that even many followers of the Buddha were merely falling leaves, lacking the internal guide that Gautama possessed. Kamala, looking at him after a session of love, remarked that Siddhartha was the best lover she had known, strong, supple, and willing. Yet she observed that he did not truly love her, nor did he love anyone. Siddhartha warily agreed, suggesting that people like them, who treated love as an art and possessed an inner sanctuary, were perhaps incapable of the simple, intense love felt by ordinary people.